ABC Cable Services presents high school basketball. Tonight from Annville-Cleona High School, the Little Dutchmen take on the Lancaster Catholic Crusaders. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Lancaster Lebanon League Section 3 matchup between Annville-Cleona and Lancaster Catholic. My name is Bob McCool. Tonight, we take a little bit of a preview look at the playoffs. The playoffs may start in Lancaster Lebanon League, in 6 days, but in reality, they begin tonight. There is a world of possibilities that exist as far as tiebreakers and so on and so forth, but these two teams right now are in a situation that follows this way. Annville-Cleona is 10-2 and in first place. Lancaster Catholic in a three-way tie at 9-3. And if Lancaster Catholic can win this basketball game, a possibility exists of a four-way tie in Section 3, and only two of those teams will make it to the Lancaster Lebanon League playoffs. Along with me tonight is Steve Degler, and it comes down to this, Steve. Not only are there a world of possibilities, but if you're Annville-Cleona, the world exists this way. You have the destiny in your own hands. If they can hold serve, they will win the Section 3 title.
That's exactly right. They're trying to defend their title, and you see if they win out, a win over Lancaster Catholic tonight puts them at 11-2. A win at Donegal as well on Thursday would give them the section title. But with a loss here tonight and wins by Lebanon Catholic and Columbia, you're looking at a four-way tie for first. As Bob mentioned, only two teams go. Now, one of those would be knocked out on Thursday because Columbia will host Lancaster Catholic. So we're looking at the possibility of a three-way tie for the section title if Lancaster Catholic can win here tonight. What would happen is two of those three teams would play on Friday. The winner of that game would play the third team on Saturday to determine the section champion, with the loser qualifying as the second place team from Section 3. All kinds of things can happen. Annville wants to win here tonight, win on Thursday, and take care of number one in the section with that possibility, all but eliminated with two wins by Annville-Cleona.
It's that simple. If Annville-Cleona wins their two games, as Steve said, then they win the section championship, and they'll let the other teams worry about how they're going to get the second place spot in Section 3. The schedule makers certainly didn't do the Crusaders any favors, having to play here at Annville-Cleona tonight and then Thursday night against Columbia. So the Crusaders certainly have the toughest road to hoe of the four teams remaining. And going up against a team tonight in Annville-Cleona, playing on senior night and facing Mark Linebaugh. Got a chance to talk with first-year coach Bill Southward before this basketball game. And if philosophy, the age-old question is which came first, the chicken or the egg. In basketball circles, the age-old philosophy is you're going up against a scorer like Mark Linebaugh. Do you let Linebaugh score his points and make sure that no one else is the hero, or do you try to shut down Mark Linebaugh and make someone else step up their game? I posed that question to Bill Southworth, and here's what his thoughts were on that philosophy.
I think we're going to try to do both. How about that? We're going to put a lot of pressure on Mark. We're going to hopefully make him work for all his points. There's going to be times we're going to double him and really try to go after him. We're not going to hopefully give him anything easy.
Well, in round number one, 45-43 to Annville-Cleona, and Mark Linebaugh had 25 of the 45.
Well, Linebaugh, one of just three Annville-Cleona players to score, and they've got a bucket with 41 seconds left to win that game at Lancaster Catholic. As Bob mentioned, 45-43. The Crusaders had a chance to win it at the buzzer, didn't get a real good look at the basket, so they didn't really contain Linebaugh in the first game. They're going to have to try and do that here tonight.
And you go to the opposite end of the floor, the offensive end for Lancaster Catholic. They've got a pretty good scorer in their own right in junior Sean Swigert.
Swigert only had 6 points in the first meeting between these two teams. That's because Justin Sabatos did a great job on him. Sabatos will play the 6'1 junior again tonight, but Swigert 33 three-pointers on the season, averaging nearly 17 points a game with a high of 37. They need some scoring from him tonight. If he gets 6 in this one, chances are the Crusaders going home with another loss.
That's 6 points tied for his season low, and as Scott Parra pointed out, a great defensive job, as Steve said, by Justin Sabatos in that game. The other guy that's got to step forward inside, they are not a tall team, are the Crusaders, but Chris McMonagle is a real workman-like player inside, does a lot of things on the boards, and can score points as well.
Second leading scorer at just under 10 a game. He also had just 6 points in the loss to Annville-Cleona first time around, so he's going to have to give them some scoring, and he can't let Matt Kleinfelder and Jeff Browning get loose inside for some easy hoops for Annville-Cleona.
Well, the Dutchmen, as we said at the outset, they control their own destiny, and we got a chance to talk with Scott Parra about that before this basketball game and what the thought process is for the Dutchmen. Again, the schedule favor perhaps doing them a little bit of a favor. Scott Parra might have objected to that comment a little bit. Here's what he had to say.
Well, schedule maker now, we're just hoping we did ourselves a favor by playing the most consistent all year long. However, you know, the winner of tonight's game, obviously he's got the driver's seat to win the section, or at least makes it a mess for some other people. We know there's a lot of people out there cheering for Lancaster Catholic tonight, but like you said, it's our house, it's a senior night where our kids are ready to go.
It's that simple. They may root for Lancaster Catholic, but they have got to beat Annville-Cleona on their own home floor. And there's a guy by the name of Lineball. You may have heard of him by now. He's done an awful lot of things at Annville-Cleona High School. Right now, the #3 all-time scorer in school history.
Over 1,600 points in his career, the small school player of the year last year, leading the Dutchman to the state title. He has averaged 21 points a game so far this season. Playing with still a tender ankle, he missed the Northern Lebanon game 2 contests ago. Scott Parris said, though, he's doing okay tonight, as good as he has in the last couple of weeks, and he's expecting big things from his senior captain.
Well, we said that Mark Lineball scored 25 in that victory against Lancaster Catholic, but the other guy that's a solid player, a very workmanlike player for Annville-Cleona is Matt Kleinfelter.
He had 14 in that game. He averages 10 points a game, shoots over 50% from the field. He will have to help out again. He had 25, Lineball had 25, Kleinfelder had 14, Browning had the other 6. So we talk about Lineball and Kleinfelder. Browning had the other points. They're going to have somebody else, either Brett Barlett or Justin Sabatos, give them some points in this one tonight.
Another name to throw into the mix, and you just mentioned him, Jeff Browning. We saw Lancaster Catholic last week against Lebanon Catholic, and 6'6" Brian Jeselowski gave Lancaster Catholic some fits. A smaller team with only 6'2" being the tallest player for Lancaster Catholic. Perhaps Browning might be a factor in this basketball game as well.
Well, Scott Parra told us that he watched that Lebanon Catholic game against Lancaster Catholic. Didn't notice anything being done differently by Lancaster Catholic, but certainly the way Jeselowski played in that game maybe gives Browning some confidence he can do a little bit of the same tonight.
It certainly should be an interesting match out. It's an overflow crowd here at Annville-Cleona, and again, a world of possibilities, but right now the main thing is this. 10-2 Annville-Cleona going up against 9-3 Lancaster Catholic, with perhaps a Section 3 title on the line. There's the trophy from last year, with the hopes that they can get a little bit further to the state championship. That's where we stand tonight. We'll come back with the opening tap right after this on AT&T.
After all the ads, who's got the lowest furniture price? Heilig Myers Furniture.
Cleona, the little Dutchman playing host to Lancaster Catholic tonight. Final home game for the Dutchman, senior night for Annville-Cleona. And again, a lot of things on the line for this basketball game. High school basketball on AT&T Cable Services is brought to you by Heilig Myers Furniture, Route 422. Stop by Route 422 east of Lebanon to find out why you'll love this store. By Lad Hanford Dodge, Chrysler, Plymouth, and Jeep, your 5-star dealership on West Cumberland Street in Lebanon. And by Alvernia College, skills for the workplace, values for life. Annville-Cleona, the home team on the scoreboard, and Lancaster Catholic, the visitors tonight. Here are the starting lineups for Lancaster Catholic. The forwards, Chris McMonigal at 6'2", and Kevin Kirkner at 6'2". 3 guards around the perimeter. The point guard is 5'9" senior Pat Wagner, with Sean Swigert at 6'1" on one wing, and Jason Greising at 5'10" on the other wing. For Annville-Cleona, inside 6'2" senior Matt Kleinfelder, 6'6" senior Jeff Browning. The 3 guards, Brett Barlett at 6'1", Lineball at 6'2", and Justin Sabatos at 5'9", in the starting mix tonight for Annville-Cleona. All 5 seniors in the starting lineup for Annville-Cleona, and just one underclassman for Lancaster Catholic as well. Steve, a lot of pressure tonight on a guy who's worked his way into the starting lineup in Justin Sabatos. He will get the defensive assignment of Sean Swigert. As you mentioned in pregame, he did a great job in round number 1.
Yeah, he did, holding Swigert to just 6 points. Scott Parra is looking for much the same tonight. On the other side, Jason Greising is going to play Mark Lineball. Greising last week in that game at Lebanon Catholic had a lot of foul trouble. He is considered the best perimeter defender for Bill Southward, while Kevin Kirkner is considered the #1 inside defender for the Crusaders. He will have the job of guarding Matt Kleinfelder in this one.
It certainly should be an interesting matchup. As Steve said, at the start of that basketball game, Lancaster Catholic's game plan for Bill Southward was to put Greising on Callahan. Now, Callahan didn't score a whole lot of points, but that wasn't necessarily the defense of Greising. Greising picked up a lot of fouls early on in that basketball game. Well, we shall see how he does tonight against Lineball, who again scored 25 of the 45 points in round number 1. The officials for tonight's game, Len Neff and Ed Flick, as we are about to tip things off here at Annville. Annville-Cleona at 10-2, and Lancaster Catholic at 9-3. Lancaster Catholic tied with Lebanon Catholic and Columbia at 9-3, a three-way tie for second place behind the Dutchmen.
Going to see almost all man-to-man from Lancaster Catholic. They'll play some zone out of bounds, but primarily it is a full-court man-to-man defense, a very demanding style.
Justin Sabatos with it right now, being guarded by Pat Wagner. Gives it up to Barlett, who can't hold on to it on the wing, and the Dutchmen will turn it over in their first possession.
Annville-Cleona will likewise play mostly man-to-man. There's Scott Parra in his 5th year, won the state title last year in AA. His team will show some half-court trap at times, and sometimes that's their best defense.
Pat Wagner gives it up to Swigert, who loses his balance but doesn't lose possession. To Kirkner, to Greising, back to McMonagle on a low post. Good defense there by Jeff Browning. They give it back to Greising on the right wing. They're going for the lob inside to Kirkner. And Kleinfelder there to body him up. Kirkner with a fadeaway jumper scores.
Oh, we saw Kirkner last week. He is outstanding, making decisions in the low post, and they're a little turnaround from 10 feet for our first points of the game. Not real strong pressure early on.
2-0 Lancaster Catholic on top. Barlett has it kicked away. Swigert with the good defense.
Well, Lancaster Catholic is a team that wants to play up-tempo, baseline to baseline. Annville-Cleona doesn't want to slow things down all that much, but they want to play at a slower tempo.
Very comfortable with the score in the 40s, which is why they were able to win at Lancaster Catholic in round number 1 against January 14th was the date 45-43. Annville-Cleona won the first matchup between these two teams. Barlett thought about the three, instead puts it on the floor, goes inside. The defense of McMonagle forces the shot off the line. Crusaders look to run ahead to Greising, and Greising will hold it up and wait for help, but Lineball takes it away, but he runs out of real estate and turns it right back.
Great hustle by Lineball along the sideline, but he could not stay in bounds. So we're going to see an early substitution for Annville-Cleona.
As Kevin Zimmerman will check into the basketball game, and Brett Barlett turning the ball over, and he comes out of the basketball game.
I don't think Scott Parra liked that shot selection off that drive by Barlett.
Barlett with a turnover and a missed shot in his first 2 possessions as McMonagle comes back and scores inside. So Lancaster Catholic right now going inside to score their points.
Nice job by McMonagle. Faked the pass to the cutter along the baseline. The defense went for the fake. He just simply turned and had himself a layup.
There's the guy with the world of pressure on his shoulders, Jason Greising, with the unenviable task of trying to contain Lineball. Lineball with the bounce pass, but the ball's kicked out of bounds by Kirkner.
One thing Greising can be sure of, he's going to get some help. Scott Parra saying Lineball's seen everything this year. Box in one, diamond in one, double teams, face guarding, and he has responded every night.
Jeff Browning puts up the shot inside, can't get the shot to go down, but comes back with the offensive rebound. His shot is blocked by Swigert, and they're going to call Swigert with a foul.
Great hustle by Browning inside. Swigert called for the foul with the body, picking up his first and the team's first. You see Browning has an easy one from the left side. It rolls out. Now he stays with it. He'll bring the ball back to the right side, and Swigert has his hands all over him, and you see the chest-to-chest contact for the foul.
Great foul shooting team on the Dutchman at 73%. Browning at 69%, but he misses the first.
And they get there a lot, over 19 times a game. In fact, in the first meeting, Annville-Cleona 19 for 23 from the line. Lancaster Catholic 2 for 4 with no foul shots after the first quarter.
Browning makes the second of the 2 foul shots to get the Dutchman on the scoreboard. It's 4-1 Lancaster Catholic, the Crusaders with the basketball. Swigert cutting inside of traffic, puts up the off-balance shot, gets his own rebound, and follows it home.
Oh, great work by Swigert. Kleinfelder did a nice job rotating defensively, almost drew the charge, but great hustle by Swigert to stay with it.
Lineball avoids a double team, finds Kleinfelder, who finds Browning, and the Dutchmen get it into their offensive half court. Now Lineball looking to do his magic, but again the double team forces him to pull up his dribble. Bounce pass off the foot of Greising, and the Dutchman will keep possession.
Well, Lineball is such a good passer too that even if you double team him, doesn't mean you can stop him. He may not score, but he could set up his teammates.
And Lancaster Catholic steals the inbound pass. Greising with the quick hustle took it away from Browning and tried to go the distance, but instead will go to the foul line.
Well, this Lancaster Catholic team will get after you on defense, forcing over 20 turnovers a game. So you have to take care of the basketball against the Crusaders.
The Dutchmen have turned it over 3 times already in this basketball game. Browning picking up his first foul, the team's first as well. And it will send Jason Greising to the foul line. Lancaster Catholic has some pretty good foul shooters as well. Greising at 77% on the season, and he misses the first.
You're 2 for 2, though.
I am on a roll. 66% on the season are the Crusaders, and again, Greising now 10 for 14 on the season, pending this shot as he puts up a line drive, but gets it to go down, and it's now 7-1. Crusaders on top.
Got to get Lineball a shot this time down. Do something to get him in a position to fire away. He has not had a field goal attempt as yet.
Lineball will take it across half court with Greising in his face, looking around and looking for screens. Instead, they give it to Kleinfelder.
Running a set here, a 1-4 low set play, thumbs down, called by the Dutchman.
Browning right now has it at the top of the key, gives it up to Sabatos. Trying to get Lineball free, who cannot get away from the screens. Right now, Zimmerman has it on the right wing.
They're running a flex right now.
And a steal by Kirtner. Great anticipation, trying to go end-to-end. Too strong with the shot, but he is out running down the long rebound. Gives it up to Swigert, who goes baseline and scores.
Well, Scott Parra needs a timeout. His team playing with very little enthusiasm right now, which is hard to believe on senior night. Usually you come out all charged up. It's been Lancaster Catholic who's taking control of this game.
And taking the basketball away, as in addition to everything else, as they've now forced 4 turnovers and taken advantage of it to lead 9-1. Lineball trying to make something happen on the offensive end. Scores and is fouled. That's what you have. That's what a superstar player has to do when Mark Lineball comes through when the Dutchman need him most.
And that's why maybe you don't call a timeout. You've got a guy like this who can just bring you back, and you see Greising bodying up. He slipped a little bit, drawing the foul with the contact, and Lineball hits the shot as well.
Trying to make it a 3-point play, and he does. Lineball, with everything else he does, you can imagine he's a good foul shooter as well. 79% on the season, and it's now a 9-4 game as Lineball's good on the 3-point play. Swigert has his feet go out from under him, and Lineball takes it away from him. Great defense by Lineball as well. Sabatos pulls it up, finds Lineball free for 3. Off the side of the rim, strong rebound, and it goes right back to Lineball, who gives it up to Sabatos from 2-point range, rolls around. Browning with the putback. Shot bounces around, will not fall, but Browning will go to the line.
Boy, Lineball's simple 3-point play turns things around just like that for Annville-Cleona. They get a turnover defensively. They have much more spark getting out in transition and really going to the basket here. Sabatos, he has to take the shot. He can make that. Open from the corner, missed it. Look at Browning working hard for the offensive rebound, drawing the second foul on Swigert.
That's the double good news with Sean Swigert, the leading scorer on the season for Lancaster Catholic at just under 17 points a game, now has 2 personal fouls, and he will come out. The bad news for Annville-Cleona, this is a very deep Crusader team. Bill Southwood very comfortable going as much as 9 and 10 deep on his bench, and Andy Fritz will check in for the first time as Browning goes 2 for 2 at the line.
Fritz was the leading scorer in the first meeting as he had 11 of the 43 for the Crusaders.
The Dutchman's defense has picked up in intensity as well, as right now it's Lancaster Catholic 9, Annville-Cleona 6. Greising gives it up to McMonagle, who gives it to Kirtner. Kirtner will give it back to Greising. Greising looking to penetrate, runs right into Browning and travels.
And they have played much better defense the last 2 times down the floor.
And Steve, you mentioned it, the spark they got from Lineball's 3-point play, but then on the defensive end, Lineball comes back and gets a steal, and since then the Dutchman's defense has been a lot stronger.
Well, Scott Parra told me that with teams trying to stop Lineball and just having the scoring down from last year's state championship team, he told his guys, if you want to win, you better play defense. They're only giving up 44 points a game, and they came out and gave up 9 in a hurry tonight. They've tightened it up the last 2 times.
That is the misnomer about the Dutchman. You assume that because they won a state title and they've got a great scorer in Mark Lineball, they score a lot of points, but it's their defense that's been terrific. And Lineball, by the way, can also score as he hits the 3. Ties it at 9.
He just has an unbelievable release. It is so quick.
McMonagle puts up the 2-pointer as his toes are on the line. This shot is off the mark, and Lineball will get called for the foul on the loose ball.
We'll look at Lineball's 3-pointer at the other end. He uses screens so well. Zimmerman, a down screen right there. Lineball has it, has already squared his shoulders, and that shot's gone in a hurry.
Lineball picking up his first personal foul. Greising gives it up to Jimmy Heisey, who checks in on the dead ball. His shot is off the mark, and a good strong rebound by Browning. 9-9 as we're now inside of 3 minutes remaining in the first quarter. Lineball pulls up to the foul line off the back of the iron. Battle for the rebound. McMonagle has it for Lancaster Catholic.
Good job by McMonagle blocking out Browning down low.
Kirtner taking the ball up the floor, puts up the shot, blocked by Browning.
And a foul on Kirtner on the rebound.
Boy, Jeff Browning has played a marvelous first quarter for Annville-Cleona.
Yeah, he sure has at both ends of the floor. He's been very active.
Kirtner picking up his first foul, the team's 4th. Browning got a couple more substitutions for Lancaster Catholic.
Browning got the piece on the shot. You see Kirkner all over the arm of Kleinfelder on the rebound.
Jason Rock will check in. He has seen the hairdresser since we saw them last week against Lebanon Catholic. Got with the blonde look, and he will check in now as McMonigal will take a breather.
Lineball's going to have a lot of duty here with Bartlett on the bench.
Also into the game for the Dutchman is Vince Hoover as Annville-Cleona turns it over.
Sabatos was wide open on the weak side, and nobody saw him.
Kirkner has it right now for the Crusaders. Gives it up to Jimmy Heisey. Heisey puts it on the floor, going to go right down the middle. He scores, but they're going to wave it off. Offensive foul against Jimmy Heisey.
That was Hoover stepping in to take the charge. You see Bill Southward wants a 20-second timeout.
2 minutes and 7 seconds remaining in the first period. It is 9-9.
Heisey's going to come down the lane. He gets by Zimmerman. Now watch 21. Hoover's going to slide, and he draws the charge. You're supposed to be there before the offensive player leaves the floor.
Bill Southward will use that 20-second timeout to voice his displeasure with the officials. He commented to us, if I have some sour grapes, about round number one. As Steve mentioned, the foul shooting was very lopsided in favor of Annville-Cleona in the first meeting, and I think Bill Southward is trying to plant a seed.
That's exactly what he's doing. He's working the officials, working them enough that they get the message. He doesn't get teed up. 23-4 were the foul shots in the first game. He told us they did not shoot a free throw after 4:27 left to play in the first quarter.
Right now, the team fouls are 5-2 in favor of Lancaster Catholic, and a great feed from Lineball inside, and Kleinfelder gets his first field goal. The Dutchmen are on top for the first time.
That's what I'm talking about, Lineball. You can throw 2-3 guys at him. He's going to stay poised, and he's going to find the open man.
10-point run right now for the Dutchmen. 11-9, Annville-Cleona on top. Heisey in trouble, gives it up to Jason Rock, who gives it to Kirkner. Around to Fritz. Kirkner open from three-point range. Off the rim, Lineball has a rebound to go along with the rest of his numbers.
And why not? He's the top rebounder on the team at just under 7 a game.
Right now, the defensive assignment is Andy Fritz's guarding Lineball as Reising takes a breather on the bench right now. Swigert back in the game for the Crusaders with those 2 personal fouls. Kleinfelder gives it back to Lineball, swings it around out to the top of the key to Kevin Zimmerman. Zimmerman on the right wing to Sabatos, looking for help. Instead goes back in the corner to Vince Hoover. Back to Sabatos. Zimmerman free inside the three-point arc, but they're going to wave it off, and they're going to call Lineball with an illegal screen.
Couple things, and this is 6 turnovers now for Annville-Cleona, and it's the second personal foul on Lineball. Maybe you get him out for the last 57 seconds of the first quarter.
That's the key situation. Yes, maybe for the last 57 of the first. But we've got a second quarter to play, and Mark Lineball has 2 personal fouls, so he will take a breather. Brett Bartlett will check back in for the Dutchman.
I think that's why you get him out, though, before he picks up a third before the end of the first quarter. Now you can start him in the second quarter. He's got the savvy and the experience to play with 2 fouls.
Swigert playing with 2 fouls as well. He pulls up with a jumper off the mark. Jason Rock with the offensive rebound, and a foul called on the box out, I believe, is going to be against Kevin Zimmerman.
Zimmerman tied up with Rock on the putback. That air ball is such a tough thing for the defense to rebound because you anticipate the ball hitting the rim at some point, and that one didn't, and Rock, who takes up a lot of space down low, was able to get the offensive rebound.
Good rebounder. Foul shooting, however, is not his specialty. He is now 5 for 21 on the season from the free throw line. It's not a charity stripe when Jason Rock gets them. Swigert will come out again with those 2 personal fouls.
And both coaches making good moves here before the end of the first quarter.
Ryan Howansky, a 6'2" junior, checks into the game, and Jason Rock sticks it in the face of Annville a little bit as he goes 1 for 2 at the line and makes it an 11-10 basketball game. Final 40 seconds of period number 1.
Now Sabatos has to watch the double team now, especially turning his back to the basket.
Good job by Sabatos, though, to avoid the double team and get it into the front court. Now he has it on the left wing. Gives it back instead to Kevin Zimmerman. Final 25 seconds of period number 1. Dutchman perhaps intended to go for one last shot.
Going to think they're going to look for Kleinfelder right now. He's the only scorer out there. Bartlett would have to be option number 2.
Kick ball will stop the play as Fritz gets his feet on the basketball, kicks it out of bounds. Annville will keep possession right in front of Bill Southward and the Lancaster Catholic coaching staff. Southward in his first season at the helm for the Crusaders. Inbound pass is chipped away by Jimmy Heisey. Loose basketball run down, but he cannot hold possession, and Annville will get it back. So the Dutchmen keep possession, but they lose about 45 feet in doing so. 11.7 seconds remaining now in period number 1.
Somebody's got to go to the ball.
They finally get it in bounds, or do they? Sabatos has it knocked away. The ball is loose on the floor. Last touched again by, this time they're going to say it's Crusader basketball, and they will check Swigert in now with 7 seconds left.
And just hope he doesn't pick up an offensive foul either on a charge or going over the back on a rebound. But nobody for Annville-Cleona went toward the basketball that time.
Turnover number 7 for the Dutchman now in this first quarter. 7.7 left on the clock. Try to screen open Swigert from three-point range. Well off the mark. Kirkner has the rebound. Off the mark. Jason Rock has the third shot opportunity. His shot is off the mark, and that will do it for an action-packed period number 1. At the end of 1, Annville-Cleona 11, Lancaster Catholic 10. We'll come back to Annville with more after this on AT&T. His 2 personal fouls will start the second quarter, as the Dutchman will start on defense in the second 8 minutes. 11-10, the Crusaders trail right now as they start with the basketball, but we're going to get a whistle underneath, and I think we're going to get a foul against Lancaster Catholic.
Jason Rock, illegal screen. He got away with one on the last play before the end of the first quarter on the inbounds pass. He set an illegal screen. It was not called. This time he's whistled for his first. 6 already on the team.
You see the shooting numbers so far in this basketball game. Not pretty at this point in time, as the defense has come to play for both these basketball teams. Both these teams going after it pretty heavy on the defensive end.
Only 8 shots in the quarter for Annville-Cleona, and that's with a handful of offensive rebounds. Why so few attempts? 7 turnovers in the first quarter.
Browning with the baseline jumper, and he will pick up foul number 2 on Jason Rock.
That's 7 already on the team. Now Lancaster Catholic shot 4 free throws in the first game. They shot 4 in the first quarter tonight. Annville will go for its 6th and 7th attempts here, and you see Rock with pretty good body-up defense, but he's called for the foul against Browning.
Browning 3 for 4 at the line already. He will go there thanks to that great pass, as you saw in the replay, from Mark Linebaugh, as he just got it off before the double team came to him. Pat Wagner just a half a step slow, and Linebaugh able to get that pass through the 2 defenders for Lancaster Catholic to Browning, who goes 2 for 2 at the line. He's now got 5 points, and the Dutchman's lead is now 13-10. Chris McMonigal has it right now for Lancaster Catholic. He will give it up to their point guard, Pat Wagner, or does he? Wagner almost had it go through his hands. Rising back into the game for the Crusaders, as is Ryan Hawanski for Lancaster Catholic. Rising gives it up to Hawanski, around to Wagner, to Chris McMonigal, trying to go baseline. Pulls up, the shot is off the mark, and Kevin Zimmerman has the rebound for the Dutchman.
Looked like Annville went zone that time, and that's one way to protect Linebaugh from picking up any more personal fouls.
Linebaugh, Sabatos, Zimmerman, Browning, and Kleinfelder, the 5 on the floor right now for the Dutchman. Zimmerman has it on the left wing, being guarded by Sean Swigert. Good entry pass to Kleinfelder. Great pass across the paint to Jeff Browning.
Super look by Kleinfelder. When the defense rotated, he bounced it across the lane to a wide open Browning.
4-point run to start the second quarter for the Dutchmen, as they lead now 15-10. Jason Rising has it on the right wing, gives it back to Chris McMonigal, looking for the point guard, Pat Wagner. Instead goes right back to Rising on the right side. Good defense by the Dutchman, and it forces a turnover.
Not a whole lot of movement offensively for Lancaster Catholic that time. We're going to look at the last basket. You see the good entry to Kleinfelder. Draws the defense from Hawanski. Simple bounce pass to a wide open Browning. That was Hawanski's man. And with a double team there, somebody had to be open, and Kleinfelder found him.
Brett Barlett will check into the game on the stoppage of play, and Justin Sabatos will take a breather for Annville-Cleona. Barlett has it right now on the left wing. Gives it up to Kevin Zimmerman. Man-to-man defense for the Crusaders. Zimmerman to Barlett to Linebaugh. Linebaugh trying to go baseline. Pulls up and scores. 8 points now for Mark Linebaugh.
There's some contact. I'm sure he was hoping there wasn't a whistle coming, sending that play the other way for his 3rd personal. Great drive off the left baseline, though.
Dutchmen with their biggest lead now at 17-10. Lancaster Catholic looking for something on the offensive end to start this second quarter. Monagle trying to make it happen as he drives, pulls up, shot is off the mark. Kleinfelder with a strong rebound.
Well, they got to somehow find Swigert and try to get him loose. He did have 4 points in the first quarter, to lead the Crusaders. They've got to try to get him the ball again.
He has not scored since he picked up that second foul. Kleinfelder in traffic, and he'll go to the line.
This will be the first on McMonigle, 8 on the team. Bill Southward seeing his team racking up a lot of fouls here in the first half. Good spin toward the baseline, and you see right there, huge foul by McMonigle.
Bill Southward voiced some displeasure about the number of fouls, but right now the fouls by Lancaster Catholic are all legitimate. Full timeout for the Crusaders with 5:25 remaining in the first half. It is 17-10, Annville on top. Kleinfelder at the foul line for Annville-Cleona following a Lancaster Catholic timeout, as the Dutchmen have run off 6 straight points to start play here in the second quarter. Kleinfelder, however, misses the first, makes the second. 3 points now for Matt Kleinfelder, and the lead is now 8 at 18-10.
It's 2 big runs for the Dutchmen. They were down 9-1 before scoring 10 in a row, and they've come out on fire here in the second quarter.
Crusaders just cannot get out of their own way in this second quarter, as they cannot get anything done on the offensive end, still looking for their first field goal of the second quarter. They turn it over yet again, and now the pressure forces a turnover the other way. Wagner picks it up and he scores.
They've got to get somebody going to the ball earlier, because it's happening at the 4-second mark and it becomes a panic pass.
18-12 now. Annville on top as Lineball gets it through the double team to Barlett, to Browning, to Kleinfelder, who scores. Good ball movement by the Dutchman, gets it back to an 8-point game.
They broke that press very nicely.
Chris McMonigle with it right now on the right wing for the Crusaders to Kevin Kirkner, and a give and go back to McMonigle. His shot, however, is off the mark. He's there, however, for another rebound, and he will be fouled.
Another pretty pass by Kirkner out of that medium post, a give and go. You get the defense to turn your head, and all of a sudden you have yourself a pretty good look at the hoop. Here's the cross-court bounce pass. Kleinfelder able to scoop it up. Good pump fake, getting Kirkner in the air, and then after that, it's an easy one.
Give Jeff Browning the assist on it as Kleinfelder picks up his 5th point. And Kevin Zimmerman picks up his 2nd personal foul for the Dutchman. 15th foul for Annville-Cleona with 4:35 remaining in the first half.
Lancaster Catholic has not executed the half-court offense, and I rest my case right there.
We've got a great example of the problems that the Crusaders have had as they turn it over again. With 4:31 remaining in the second quarter, 20-12, Annville on top. Mark Lineball will try to clear everybody out and try to take it across the half-court stripe himself, again being guarded now by Jason Greising. Lineball gives it up on the right wing. Jeff Browning now has it at the top of the key. They screen open Lineball from the baseline. His shot is too strong. Good rebound by Sean Swigert. The Crusaders look to run. Wagner ahead to Greising, who scores.
That is the Lancaster Catholic game right there. Rebound, get out in transition.
So Greising with the defense, and then as soon as Lineball puts up the shot, he's off to the races, and they find him ahead of the pack. Greising now with 3 points. The lead is back to 6 in favor of Annville-Cleona. Zimmerman steps between a double team to Browning to Kleinfelder, and then Kleinfelder will go back to the line.
Again, he got Kirkner in the air with the pump fake. Second time that has happened. Kirkner will draw his 2nd personal foul. Kleinfelder with another trip to the line. Here's Browning again. Good pass across the lane. There's the pump fake. Kirkner falls for it and comes down across the right arm to pick up the personal foul.
Kirkner's 2nd foul, team foul number 9 against the Crusaders. And Annville-Cleona back at the foul line. Steve mentioned it a while ago that the Dutchmen shoot a lot of foul shots, and that's a pretty good example why. Good ball movement, good pump fakes, getting the defenders off their feet.
10th and 11th opportunities here in the first half. As I mentioned, they get there an average of 19 times a game.
Kevin Zimmerman will come out. Justin Sabatos will check back into the lineup. So the original starting 5 on the floor right now for the Dutchmen. Browning, Kleinfelder, Sabatos, Lineball, and Barlett, as Kleinfelder goes 0 for 2 at the line, and the lead will stay at 6 in favor of Annville-Cleona.
He's now 1 for 4 in the game.
Heisey gives it up to Kirkner, to McMonigle, along with Greising and Swigert. That's the 5 on the floor right now for the Crusaders. Jimmy Heisey gives it up to Swigert. They're trying to screen him open, trying to get him the basketball somehow. Instead, he gives it up to Kirkner. Kirkner has it picked away and taken away by Justin Sabatos. He gets it taken right back as Heisey with the steal and the pretty move to score. Jimmy Heisey goes behind his back and gets himself a bucket.
Heisey sneaking in from behind after Sabatos had taken the ball away. But you see Sabatos does not see Heisey coming. Right there, sneaks in behind him now with a nice behind-the-back move. Sabatos with a little reach in here. If you're going to do that, you've got to make sure the shot doesn't get off. for a chance at a three-point play.
Instead, Heisey will indeed attempt that three-point play. Heisey 15 for 17 on the season, as Sabatos picks up his first personal foul, and Heisey makes the three-point play, and it's now a three-point game, 20-17 in favor of Annville-Cleona.
He's a pretty good foul shooter, right? 16 for 18.
Not too shabby. Great pass ahead from Sabatos, but Kleinfelder couldn't catch it cleanly and turns it over.
Timeout for Annville-Cleona. Scott Perry not happy with the way things are going right now. Kleinfelder had a layup and just mishandled the pass.
It'll be a 20-second timeout for the Dutchman with 3:08 left in the first half. 20-17, Annville-Cleona on top.
You can see Kleinfelder took his eye off the ball to find the hoop and traveled with it. Looking for a new minivan? Ladd Hanford in Lebanon has some extraordinary news for you. Right now, buy any new Chrysler Corporation minivan, and Ladd Hanford will pay your interest for the life of your purchase. Buy a new Plymouth Voyager, Dodge Caravan, or Chrysler Town & Country, and Ladd Hanford will pay your interest. There are over 60 new minivans in stock and ready for same-day delivery. Ladd Hanford will arrange financing for qualified buyers and pay the interest for the life of your purchase. Ladd Hanford Dodge Chrysler Plymouth Jeep has the largest minivan inventory in Central PA. See for yourself at 2247 West Cumberland Street in Lebanon.
Lancaster Catholic with the basketball right now. The Crusaders on a 7-2 run as Heisey tries to change that as his three-pointer's well up the mark. Fritz runs down the long rebound to Swigert, who drains the three, and it ties the game at 20.
Second tie of the night. Good hustle on the offensive glass by the Crusaders.
And now trouble again on the inbounds pass, but Annville-Cleona will keep possession as it's last touched by the Crusaders.
Swigert's 34th three-pointer of the season. He has scored 7 in this one, which is more than he scored in the first meeting.
And they steal the inbounds pass as McMonagle comes away with it. The Dutchman turn it over again. Swigert spins in traffic. His shot will be waved off, however, and called for the travel.
That was close. He made a pretty good spin move in the lane. Len Knapp's going to call it a traveling violation.
We'll see
Here it is
one
again.
more time.
Ooh, I don't know.
Looked like 2 steps and a shot for Swigert, but it's waved off, and it goes as a turnover instead as Vince Hoover checks in for Annville-Cleona. Matt Kleinfelder will take his first breather of the night. Annville-Cleona 20, Lancaster Catholic 20. The ball is punched away from line ball, but it ends up in the hands of Barlett. Now it's on the floor, and it will be a jump ball, I believe, a possession arrow favoring the Dutchman.
Look for them to run a set play here for line ball on the inbound. And Lancaster Catholic will probably play zone. Bill Southward said we'll play zone out of bounds, and they're getting in a 2-3 alignment right now.
You see Scott Perra calling a play in. He gives hand signals to his team as to what they want to set up. And again, trouble in the inbounds pass as Sabatos tried to throw it to Barlett, who was not looking. And it was tipped away, but last touched by the Crusaders. Kevin Zimmerman will come in, and Barlett will come out.
Tougher to run a set play from here deep in the corner, but it's still possible.
Sabatos to Browning. And Browning had a great first quarter. He's been pretty quiet in the second quarter, but he has made a couple of nice passes in transition. Kevin Zimmerman gives it up to Sabatos. Dutchman trying to screen open someone on the offensive end. You can pretty much figure who they want on their first option. Line ball cannot get free of Fritz right now defensively. Instead, Kirkner almost has a steal. Sabatos battling for the loose basketball, looking for a teammate. Ball is loose. McMonagle, Browning, everybody getting their hands on it. It's still loose. And finally, Kirkner comes up with a loose basketball, gives it to Swigert for 3. Good. Great hustle on the play of both teams, and finally Kirkner comes up with a loose basketball and finds Sean Swigert from 3-point range.
Annville-Cleona throwing lazy cross-court passes at the top of the half-court offense, then they're getting picked off.
So the Crusaders worked their way back. They had the early lead in this game. They led 9-1 at one point. The Dutchman then went on a 9-0 run to close the second period, or the first period rather. It started the second period with a 7-0 run. Their lead was as much as 18-12, but right now the Crusaders are on top by 3 as Sabatos tries to tie it from 3-point range, well off the mark, and the Crusaders right back on offense. Kirkner looking to penetrate through traffic off the mark, and Kirkner saves the inbounds pass in the backcourt. Swigert will run down the loose basketball.
That should be over and back. He saved that ball and threw it backcourt. Oh, they really missed one there.
They certainly did, and the coaching staff knew it. McMonagle, however, turns it into 2 points for the Crusaders.
I mean, to throw a ball that far into the backcourt, you have to have possession of it.
It's now a 5-point lead in favor of Lancaster Catholic as the Crusaders will take advantage of it. final 40 seconds of the first half. Sabatos avoiding the double team, or does he? Kurtner comes up with a loose basketball, and Browning will commit the foul.
And Lancaster Catholic wants an intentional foul. That is not going to be the call. Browning gets his second. It'll be a 1-and-1, as that's team foul number 7 on the Dutchman, who just are not handling the basketball at all here tonight. 13 first half turnovers.
Well, we told you that the playoffs have just started. It may be a week early, but this game is being played with playoff-like atmosphere. Everybody on the floor, everybody diving for it. Browning picks up his second personal foul. It'll send Kurtner to the foul line. Kurtner shooting a 1-and-1. He makes the first, he'll get a second. Right now, the Crusaders are on a run of their own. How about a 14-point run right now for Lancaster Catholic? It was 20-12 at one point in time. Annville-Cleona, right now it's 26-20 in favor of the Crusaders as Kurtner goes 1 for 2.
Well, Annville really needs a hoop now going into the locker room at halftime.
Final 30 seconds. Lineball has it. See if he can make something happen. Instead, he gives it to Zimmerman to Sabatos. Lineball gets it back at the top of the key, rising in his face. Lineball with a crossover dribble, and will be fouled as Grising, I believe, is getting called for the push.
It'll be his second, and it's the 10th on the team, so the double bonus sends Lineball to the line for 2 shots.
So certainly not what you wanted to do if you're Jason Grising, as he picks up his second personal foul, but more importantly for Annville-Cleona, sends the 79% foul shooting Mark Lineball to the line to shoot 2. Lineball trying to end a drought right now for the Dutchman, and he does as he makes the first. It will end a 14-point run for Lancaster Catholic. Again, it was 20-12 at one point, Annville-Cleona. The Dutchman finished off the first quarter and started the second quarter with a flourish, but the Crusaders have picked it up in the second half of this quarter. Lineball perhaps temporarily stopping that anyhow as he goes 2 for 2 to the line to make it a 4-point game at 26-22. Crusaders now in their final 10 seconds of the first half. Heisey gives it to Fritz. The great bounce pass to McMonagle, who scores with 4 seconds left. Lineball, can he beat the buzzer? Contact, McMonagle gets a loose basketball, and that will do it for the first half. The score at the break, Lancaster Catholic 28, Annville-Cleona 22. We'll come back to Annville with halftime activities after this on AT&T Cable Services. Cleona, where Lancaster Catholic right now leads the Dutchman by a score of 28-22. It's been a game of runs. Lancaster Catholic got off to the strong start. They led 9-1. Annville-Cleona then went on a 10-point run, and it was 11-9 at one point in favor of the Dutchman, 11-10 at the end of the first quarter, and then Annville-Cleona with a 7-point run to start the second quarter. They led it 18-10. It was 18-12, and then finally Lancaster Catholic went on a 14-point run to completely turn this game back around in favor of the Crusaders, and it's been that kind of first half. Annville-Cleona played strong for a while, then got sloppy. Lancaster Catholic played strong and got sloppy as well. It's been a bit of a seesaw battle, and right now the Crusaders head to the locker room with the advantage.
Well, the biggest thing is that Annville-Cleona just did not take care of the basketball in the first half. 13 turnovers, which is way too many for some coaches for a game, much less for a half of basketball. They really didn't have strong ball handling when Lineball was not at the point. And even Lineball had some problems at times having the ball knocked away in those double teams that he's going to see. So that's priority number 1 for Scott Perry in the second half. They have to take care of the basketball and not turn it over so many times for Lancaster Catholic, because the Crusaders will get after you defensively.
And that certainly was a big part of this basketball game. The Annville-Cleona looked a little bit sluggish when we first started this game. And finally, Mark Lineball made a three-point, or turned in the old-fashioned three-point play, scored and was fouled and went to the line. That seemed to pick up the intensity for the Dutchman to start to end the first quarter, and again to start the second quarter. But then all of a sudden came the pressure of Lancaster Catholic enforcing those double teams, and that's really what it's been. The defense has set the tone for the two offenses so far.
There's no question that these two defenses really getting after it. 9 turnovers as well for Lancaster Catholic. But what Annville-Cleona needs in the second half, they need Brett Barlett to come out and play his best 16 minutes of basketball this season. Somebody has to help Mark Lineball handle the basketball. They've got to go to the ball in inbounds passes. They're having difficulty getting the ball even into the backcourt. So Barlett has to come out and be all fired up and ready to go. Senior night here, last home game. He's got to make it a memorable one.
It's deja vu all over again right now for Annville-Cleona when you look at the scoring column. Again, we said it in the first half. In game number 1 between these two teams, 45-43 in favor of Annville-Cleona, but they only had 3 players in the scoring column. Linebaugh, Kleinfelder, and Browning, and so far that's the way it's been tonight, and especially Browning. Browning played very, very well in the first quarter and played pretty well as well in quarter number 2.
He certainly did, but the problem for Annville-Cleona is that nobody else is really looking for shots. Sabatos took a couple of jumpers in the first half. One was an open one was kind of a forced three-pointer from the left side late in the half. They've got to get somebody at least to be a threat offensively. Zimmerman will barely look at the basket when he catches the ball. He's ready to move it on, try to get the ball to the big 3. Linebaugh, Kleinfelder, and Browning, but somebody else has to present a threat, and again, I believe that has to be Brett Barlett in the second half. He has got to come out and assert himself offensively, looking to score a little bit, taking care of the basketball, and things will be a whole lot easier for the Dutchman.
And in truth, that's one of the advantages that the Crusaders possess over Annville-Cleona. We mentioned it during the first half. Bill Southward, the first-year coach for Lancaster Catholic, pretty comfortable with the notion that he can go 9 or 10 deep, and they did run as many as 8 players out on the floor in the first half, and 7 of them are in the scoring column.
And really, from 4 through 9, they're all kind of the same players. None of those are going to score a whole lot of points for you when you get 4 through 9 in the rotation, but they're going to play defense, they're going to rebound, they're going to be all over the floor, and that's what he is looking for. He has Swigert, who had a good first half with 10 points. He has McMonigle, and he has Kirkner. Those are his top 3. It's the rest of the guys down that bench that he needs to fill in the holes, and he took advantage of some breaks in the first half. We're going to look at a play here that really has the Annville bench still upset. It's a missed shot by Kirkner. It's an air ball. He tracks it down, and look, he has 2 hands on the basketball, throws it all the way into the back court. When Lancaster Catholic gets possession, there is no whistle, no backcourt violation, and then coming back is McMonigle. Crossover, pull up from 15, and that becomes a 2-pointer for Lancaster Catholic. A huge play in that first half because the Dutchman thought it should have been a turnover.
It certainly was a 4-point swing in favor of the Crusaders, and Scott Parra trying to voice his displeasure with the officials as the end of that half occurred about that play. And again, that was a couple minutes left in the second quarter, but the Dutchman coach is still upset about it. But the guy that was in that play has been a real staple for Lancaster Catholic. We saw them last week against Lebanon Catholic, and again tonight. He's got 3 points in the scoring column, but Kevin Kirkner is head and shoulders the quarterback on the floor for this Crusader basketball team.
Yeah, he's a guy who played some point guard last year when Swigert got hurt toward the end of the season, so he knows what to do with the basketball. He is outstanding in the medium post. A lot of guys, when they get the ball inside, the first thing they do is this. They look at the ball, they look at their feet, they don't see anything around him. Kirkner's head is up the entire time. He sees the basket, he sees the floor. He is an outstanding player for this Lancaster Catholic team.
Mark Linebaugh in double figures to lead the way with it for the Dutchman with 10 points. Sean Swigert in double figures for Lancaster Catholic with 10 points as well. At the break, Lancaster Catholic 28, and Annville-Cleona and their 5th-year head coach Scott Parra right now trailing the Dutchman 28-22. Annville-Cleona High School, where the Dutchmen trail Lancaster Catholic 28-22 in this big battle in Lancaster Lebanon League Section 3 action. Again, the Dutchmen right now in first place at 10-2. The Crusaders in a 3-way tie at 9-3. Sean Swigert starts the second half for the Crusaders with his 3rd three-pointer of the night.
Well, he only had 6 points in the first meeting between these two teams. He has already put 13 on the board in this one. Great stroke from the right wing.
And a 9-point lead now for the Crusaders. Their biggest lead of the night. Lineball trying to counter it. His shot, however, is off the mark. Battle for the rebound. Still on the floor. Kleinfelder comes up with it and scores.
Well, there is no stopping Matt Kleinfelder in terms of desire. He just really gets after the basketball.
Makes it a 7-point game now in favor of the Crusaders. 31-24 Lancaster Catholic. Chris McMonigle on the right wing to Swigert. Swigert obviously will have to be guarded. Sabatos trying to stay in his face as best he can. McMonigle was open from 3. Not his range, however. He will pull it back out and restart the offense as he gives it up to Pat Wagner on the right wing, being guarded by Lineball. Pat Wagner, Jason Greising, Chris McMonigal, Sean Swigert, and Kevin Kirkner, the five out there for the Crusaders. The ball is tapped loose, and Barlett comes up with a loose basketball for Annville-Cleona.
When you get a turnover like that, you have to come down to the other end and convert. Make the opposition pay. And again, having trouble just handling the basketball. Sabatos picks up his dribble and had nothing to do with it.
Sabatos, Lineball, Kleinfelder, Browning, and Barlett, the original starting five for the Dutchman to start the second half as well. Sabatos in trouble. Finally finds Barlett at the foul line. Barlett gives it right back to Sabatos. So looking for a line ball.
The one rule when you pick up that dribble, Bob, is you better know what you're going to do with the basketball once you grab it with two hands.
And the Dutchman, again, really not looking for their shots at this particular point in time. Kleinfelder, however, will look for something inside. Going up against Kirkner, shot short, comes up with a rebound, but loses the handle, and Swigert comes up with a loose basketball.
Kirkner learned. He did not go for the pump fake that time. He happened to pick up his two personal fouls in the first half, both going on Kleinfelder pump fakes.
Heady basketball player is Kevin Kirkner, really a coach on the floor. McMonigal from three-point range off the mark, and Sabatos runs down the loose rebound. Justin Sabatos still looking for his first point of the basketball game. Gives it up to Barlett, working it around. Kleinfelder will give it back to Lineball. Lineball now being guarded by Pat Wagner. That's a mismatch. Lineball taking advantage of it, taking it inside, misses the shot, there for the rebound, and he'll end up at the line.
Now Lineball recognized the mismatch right away. I believe this foul is going to be on McMonigal, his second and the first on the team here in the second half.
Lineball with Wagner caught up in a screen at 5'9". Pat Wagner no match for Lineball, and he alertly takes him inside, and he will end up at the foul line as McMonigal gets called for the foul. That'll be his second.
You're going to call the foul on the rebound, so no shooting here.
Instead, they'll go inside to Browning, who gets his 9th point of the night.
Set play off the inbound. Browning from the high post, rolling down the lane, gets a little screen, and an easy layup.
4 straight points now for the Dutchman to make it a 5-point game. 31-26 as we approach the 5-minute mark. Baseline pass, Pat Wagner pulls up in traffic, and we're going to get a whistle and a foul on the rebound, I believe, against Kleinfelder.
Kleinfelder getting a shove there to pick up the personal. As we look at the halftime stats, two numbers jump out at you. Both on Annville-Cleona's side, 13 turnovers, 13 field goal attempts in 2 quarters of play. That's what I mean. You don't take care of the basketball, you don't get looks at the basket.
Sean Swigert with another look at the basket, however, and he's got confidence coming out of every pore right now as he makes his 4th three.
That was a tough one, too. On the run, accepting the pass, shooting all in the same motion.
16 points now, right around his average of 16.8 on the season. They go right back to Kleinfelder on the low post, trying to go by Kirkner. Spins, loses the handle. Last touch, however, by the Crusaders.
They're able to get Kleinfelder the ball down low. The question now is whether he can do something with it.
Instead, they go to Lineball on the inbounds pass, and he'll do something with it, but how his shot, however, rims out on it.
Well, Lancaster Catholic was not set defensively. Annville had a chance for an easy one there, and Lineball missed it.
Kirkner with it right now on the right wing for the Crusaders. Sean Swigert begging for the basketball, and you can understand why. Instead, Greising will turn it over. He went up in the air and had no one to go to.
Well, you got to get Swigert the ball. I mean, he has made 4 3-pointers, and when you're hot like that, you feel you can score from anywhere, and you want the ball.
16 points for Sean Swigert. As Steve said, 4 3-pointers. That gives him 37 now on the season. All 4 of them have come since the start of the second quarter. Justin Sabatos gives it up to Lineball. Lineball looking to take Greising inside. Greising with the quick hands knocks it away. Lineball now looking for some help. Nobody coming to help out. Finally, he finds Kleinfelder.
That's been the story all night. Nobody going to the basketball.
They finally get it down to Browning on the low post, and again, Browning will head back to the foul line.
It's number 3 on McMonigal. That's one area that kind of favors Annville-Cleona. They can get the ball inside and maybe get some of these Crusader players in foul trouble.
Team foul number 2 against the Crusaders. As Steve said, that's 3 on McMonigal. Jeff Browning has 5 of his 7 points at the foul, 5 of his 9 points, now making 6 of 10 at the foul line. He is now 6 for 7 at the line tonight.
Looks like Barlett has a problem with a finger. I think some tape fell off that finger. earlier in the half, but now he is being tended to on the Annville bench.
Kevin Zimmerman will come in as a substitution, and McMonagle, those 3 fouls will come out. Jason Rock will check back in for Lancaster Catholic as Browning goes 2 for 2 at the line. He's now at double figures with 11. And it's now a 6-point game again at 34-28.
Still waiting for somebody else for the Dutchman to step up and get on the scoreboard.
Kevin Kirtner with it for Lancaster Catholic, gives it back to the point guard, Pat Wagner. Wagner being guarded by Lineball. Wagner barking out instructions, trying to set up a play on offense. Kirtner is a good guy to have in his hands. He instead gives it up to Jason Rock, right back to Kirtner. Kirtner bringing Kleinfelder a long way away from the basket. And Kleinfelder will reach in and commit the foul.
Put that forearm on the hip of Kirkner to pick up his second and the team's second.
Not a good foul from Kleinfelder, a long way from the basket. It will obviously not be a shooting foul as Lancaster Catholic will inbound it in front of their rookie coach, Bill Southward, a 5-year assistant under Danny Walk at Lancaster Catholic. Danny Walk now the head basketball coach at Reading High School. Bill Southward taking over the reins of the Crusader program. Looking for the upset here tonight at Annville-Cleona, which could cause a 4-way tie in Section 3. Great pass again from Kirtner. This time it's Jason Rock who gets the field goal.
He just really sets up his teammates for easy opportunities.
And he doesn't panic at all. In the meantime, they get the steal, and Kirtner comes up with it, puts up a bad shot. Browning comes up with a rebound, however, for the Dutchman. Sabatos didn't have numbers, pulls back and waits for help. Gets it to Browning along the baseline. He will, I believe, no, they're going to call him for a travel. So another turnover for the Dutchman. They're third in the quarter.
16th in the game. Browning had the right idea, trying to get something positive going to the basket, but he took too many steps.
Crusaders lead by 8 at 36-28, 2:25 remaining in the third period. Pat Wagner gives it up to Jason Rock. Rebounding numbers, as you see, pretty even. That's not been the problem, however. It's been turnovers. Jason Rock with a great give and go between Greising and Rock scores.
Yeah, beautiful play on the left side, running the give and go off the baseline.
The lead is now 10, the largest margin for the Crusaders. Linebaugh has his pass taken away by Greising. Ball's kicked around, loose on the floor. Who's going to come up with it? Kleinfelder finds Linebaugh, who scores and is fouled. Pat Wagner will get called for the foul, and not a good one.
Another situation where if you're going to commit the foul, you better grab both arms and not let him get the shot off. Tremendous hustle here on the floor. Browning and Kleinfelder. Kleinfelder does not walk with the basketball, stays on his knees, gives it to Linebaugh. The foul from the left side by Wagner, a chance for a three-point play. Great hustle by Browning and Kleinfelder.
You might have saw in that replay, Jeff Browning got hit by Jason Rock and hit the back of his head on the floor, and he will have to come out of the basketball game as Linebaugh can't convert to make it a three-point play. 38-30 now in favor of the Crusaders. You see Browning on the bench. Greising puts up the long-range shot off the mark, and Vince Hoover in replacement of Browning comes up with a rebound. Linebaugh with the crossover dribble, pulls up at the foul line, bounces it around the rim, ball is loose. Sabatos has it for the Dutchman, but he's going to get called for the hop step.
It's not a walk. I don't think that is a walk at all.
It's a jump stop. That's one of the changes as far as officiating goes. You're allowed to do that now if you put the shot up, and that's what Sabatos did. That's exactly, if you can read lips, that's exactly what Scott Parra just said. Jump stop. 1:25 remaining in the third, 38-30 Crusaders. Jimmy Heisey and Andy Fritz, the new backcourt right now for the Crusaders. Jason Rock, Kevin Kirtner, and Sean Swigert out there to fill out the other five for the Crusaders. That is Fritz right now being guarded by Zimmerman. Screen to Swigert, pulls up on the baseline, off the mark. Kirtner can't handle the rebound.
They ran a series of screens around the perimeter for Swigert, and they lost Sabatos in the process, but Swigert missed the short jumper.
Good news for the Dutchman. Browning back to the scorer's table, so he checks out okay with the trainers. Right now, Mark Linebaugh will take it across half court. Andy Fritz doing the defensive work right now on Linebaugh. Sean Swigert not too far away to help out defensively.
That's where Sabatos has to think about stepping in closer and taking a shot. They're not respecting him at all right now.
Zimmerman has it on the right wing, gives it up instead to Kleinfelder. Kleinfelder right back to Zimmerman, who doesn't put up the shot, instead puts it on the floor, trying to get the pass. Instead, it's kicked away. Annville-Cleona will keep possession, and it sounded like a broken record, but it's that simple. The other players on the floor right now for the Dutchmen not looking for their shots.
That's exactly right, and they're depending on Linebaugh and Kleinfelder to do all the work offensively.
Well, Kleinfelder won't do any work on the offensive end right now as he'll take a breather on the sidelines. Vince Hoover checks back, or excuse me, as Browning comes back in following that injury. So it's Hoover, Browning, Zimmerman, Sabatos, and Linebaugh right now on the floor for Annville-Cleona. The Dutchmen trail by 8 inside of 25 seconds remaining in the third period. Linebaugh with it right now, down to 20 seconds. See if the Dutchmen go for one last shot to end the third. Zimmerman puts it on his hip, and it looks like that's exactly what Scott Perra will decide to do. One last shot, and you know that's the guy they want to take it. Linebaugh working through traffic, gives it up to Browning. Back to Sabatos from 3, good! Sabatos beats the buzzer, and it's a 5-point game at the end of 3 quarters. Lancaster Catholic 38, Annville-Cleona 33. We'll come back to Annville with the final 8 minutes right after this on AT&T Cable Services.
Annville-Cleona gets somebody else to hit a shot, Justin Sabatos, before the third quarter buzzer with a huge 3 from the corner to cut it to a 5-point game.
And the Dutchmen start with the basketball, but they turn it over, or do they, as the ball is loose. Fritz had it momentarily for the Crusaders, but the ball is loose, and we have seen bodies flying all over the place tonight here at Annville.
18th turnover on the Dutchman. Linebaugh tried to cross over in front of his defender, and it was knocked away.
Annville-Cleona has been consistent. You got to give him that. 11 points in all 3 quarters. However, right now they trail by 5. And the big difference, that second quarter burst by the Crusaders.
And ironically, the Dutchmen scored the first 7 points of that second quarter, or outscored the rest of the way 18-4.
It was a 14-point run in that second quarter that changed this game in favor of the Crusaders. 38-33 right now, Lancaster Catholic on top in the final 7.5 minutes here at Annville. Andy Fritz in the corner in trouble, finds McMonigal. McMonigal steps inside the defense, gives it back to Fritz, who puts up the 3, well short of the mark. Good defense by Zimmerman, and Linebaugh has the rebound. Linebaugh working his magic along the baseline, gives it up to Zimmerman, to Sabatos at the top of the key, back to Linebaugh. Linebaugh pulls up at the foul line, good.
One of many thousand times he has made that move in his life.
Mark Linebaugh with his 14th point of the night, and it's now a 3-point game. The Crusaders' lead is 38-35. Jason Rock inside for the Crusaders, can't get the shot. He's going to pick up the foul going after the rebound.
That'll be his third, 4th on the team, and right now Lancaster Catholic not taking very good shots in that half-court offense.
Foul against Linebaugh will not be a shooting foul. It will be the 4th team foul, however, against the Crusaders, to just 2 for Annville-Cleona. The ball is kicked out of bounds, last touch by Lancaster Catholic. Bill Southward voicing his objection to that particular call, or at least perhaps about that foul against Jason Rock. Zimmerman in some serious trouble, avoids a double team to Kleinfelder, and now Linebaugh will take it across half court. The Dutchman can tie it with a 3, cut it to 1 if not. Linebaugh inside the 3, shot however short. Browning with a rebound, spins and scores. Jeff Browning has been brilliant tonight for Annville-Cleona.
13 for Browning, great position down low for the offensive rebound.
38-37, the Crusaders' lead is now trimmed to 1. Final 6 minutes and 15 seconds, perhaps, here at Annville. The faithful here at Annville-Cleona on their feet. McMonigal from 3-point range will sit him down.
Wow. He just measured that one and buries the 3 from the left wing.
He's got 9 points on the night, but more importantly, quieting the crowd a little bit to make it a 41-37 game. And now Swigert will pick the pocket of Zimmerman, and Fritz runs down the loose basketball. However, his shot is off the mark. Kleinfelder hustled back to get the rebound. So the Dutchman turned it over but dodged the bullet. Linebaugh working through traffic, gives it up to Sabatos from the baseline, off the mark, tapped around, and McMonigal has a strong rebound.
He kind of rushed that one a little bit, had a defender running at him. Ball kind of came out of the side of his hand.
5:24 remaining in the basketball game. Annville-Cleona trails Lancaster Catholic 41-37. McMonigal going baseline. Pass across the court to Fritz. Two-pointer off the mark. Lineball has the rebound. The Dutchman looking to run. Lineball doesn't like what he sees and will pull it back out and work his own magic. Instead, will give it up to Kleinfelder. Baseline jumper. Good touch. Scores the bucket.
Great look by Lineball to find Kleinfelder all alone on the baseline. That gets the friendly bounce. Think that guy there on the bench is intense a little bit, Scott Para?
You said on the bench, and I will disagree with that
Wow.
wholeheartedly. He's
Yeah.
near it, but he might not be on it. 41-39, you can't blame him. 41-39, the lead now for Lancaster Catholic is 2 as McMonigal hits the side of the backboard but gets his own rebound. This time hits the side of the rim and Kleinfelder gets the rebound.
They are really forcing some shots from really tough angles.
They're playing like they're behind instead of ahead.
That's exactly right.
Mark Lineball now being guarded by Andy Fritz. Gives it up to Kevin Zimmerman along the baseline. They screen open Sabatos. Izzy, however, fights through the screen. Zimmerman being guarded by Swigert. Zimmerman looking for Lineball, but instead he can't get loose, and now Browning in trouble in the corner. Gives it up to Zimmerman. Knocked around. Who's going to come up with it? Sabatos has it right now, but watch out. There's 3 purple jerseys around him. What's he going to do? Lineball alertly calls the timeout. It'll be a 20-second timeout for the Dutchman with 3:55 remaining in the contest. 41-37, 39 rather, Lancaster Catholic.
These two teams, they're really playing some defense out there, making it difficult to handle the ball. See, Lineball, a real soft jumper. Ball doesn't bounce all that far away. Browning, with the great timing, spins and scores to give him 13 points in the ball game.
A terrific job by Jeff Browning. 13 points on the night. And he has been strong both on the boards and a couple of blocks inside as well. Again, at 6'6", he's got 4 inches on the tallest Crusader, and he has made his presence known on this floor tonight.
And the Dutchman still very tentative handling the basketball. They're not attacking at all. I mean, they're almost inviting double and triple teams because they're not moving the ball.
They called a timeout to avoid the loss of possession in that particular occasion. Right now, the Dutchmen still have 3 full timeouts left. Lancaster Catholic has 2 fulls and a 20 to use if they need it. Browning with a bit of a lazy pass, tapped out of bounds by Pat Wagner.
And so that's all set up by Browning at the top of the key, dribbling the ball once and doing absolutely nothing with that dribble. Then he's in trouble.
Coaches will call it a 3-attack look to be able to dribble, shoot, or pass. But once you put the ball on the floor, your options are limited.
With a triple threat position, you want to square up and be able to do any of those 3. But one dribble and done doesn't do you a whole lot of good.
Browning now has it along the baseline, being guarded by McMonigal. Out to the top of the key to Sabato, screening open Zimmerman from 3-point range. Good. And the Dutchmen retake the lead at 42-41.
That's the first time he's even looked at the basket tonight, and he buries a 3.
His 12th of the season, but what a huge win for Annville-Cleona, as with 3:05 remaining in the contest, Annville-Cleona has come back to take a 1-point lead at 42-41. Swigert now has it for Lancaster Catholic. Is it back to Greising? Great look inside to McMonigal, who will finish.
Super pass against that scrambling Annville-Cleona defense.
We saw Lancaster Catholic last week. When they're playing well, they pass the ball extremely well on offense, and that's exactly what they did in that possession. Zimmerman again from 3. Good! They feed the hot hand, and Zimmerman drains another one. The Dutchman back on top by 2. Swigert from 3, off the mark. Ball is tapped around, last touch by Browning.
Kevin Zimmerman has not done anything offensively until now. Left open again, this time he looks, hits the 3-pointer, next time down, same spot, same result.
And a different on the scoreboard, however, in favor of the Dutchman now, as Annville-Cleona's on top with 2 minutes and 15 seconds remaining. It's 45-43 Dutchman. Sean Swigert has it right now. He gives it up to Greising. Great pass on the baseline to Wagner. However, his shot is well off the mark, and Kleinfelder has the rebound.
And you got to be worried if you're Lancaster Catholic. They didn't take good shots with the lead. What are they going to be like now that they're down?
Zimmerman in trouble along the baseline, and a slurt timeout called from the bench. It'll be a full timeout for Annville-Cleona with 1:54 remaining, 45-43, Annville on top of Lancaster Catholic. Timeout situation on the screen. Lancaster Catholic with 2 fulls and a 20 to burn. Annville-Cleona burning its first of 3 fulls. They now have 2 full timeouts remaining, and that's it. The Dutchmen, however, have the basketball, leading by 2 points, and Brett Barlett is fouled by Sean Swigert. That'll be his third.
And Barlett has not had one of his more memorable games, but you know what? He attacked there, which is what Annville has been doing. He took the ball to the basket, was mobile. I mean, these guys have been standing around, letting the double teams come to them. Barlett, being aggressive, picks up number 4, and Swigert, number 5 on the team.
And on the inbounds pass, the Dutchmen turn it over. The Dutchmen have turned it over a lot on the inbounds pass.
Now they changed it. Swigert's third. That's what I had him for, is number 3. The scoreboard had him as 4. It was his third personal.
5 team fouls on Lancaster Catholic, just 2 team fouls on the Dutchmen. As Lancaster Catholic looking for the lead, Kirkner puts up the shot, friendly roll, and gets the bucket. Kirkner now with 5 points. The score is tied at 45. Sabatos now in trouble. Now pulls everybody away from him, gets it across half court, being guarded by Heisey. Sabatos goes right by the defense, turned down a layup, and gives it to Browning, who scores inside. Sabatos had an open look, but didn't take the shot. Instead, Browning is able to score, and he's now got 15.
Annville has 4 fouls to give. They can do that to stop the clock here if they want to, and try to waste some time with inbounds plays.
McMonigal with it at the top of the key. They're trying to screen open Swigert. Great screen and roll to Kirkner, who scores. Well executed by the Crusaders to tie it at 47. Now with 45 seconds remaining, a whistle and a stoppage of play as Annville-Cleona will burn another full timeout. 45 seconds remaining, 47-47 is the score.
1 timeout left for Annville, and that can be a factor since they've had trouble handling the basketball. Here is the hoop that ties the game. Ball goes to the right wing. Kirkner just rolling and has an easy one. He had set the screen for Swigert. The defense rotates to the shooter on the perimeter, and Kirkner just rolls to the basket for an easy one.
That's the play that's got Carl Malone and John Stockton eventually in the Hall of Fame, and Lancaster Catholic executes it very well. High school basketball and AT&T Cable Services brought to you by Heilig Myers Furniture on Route 422 east of Lebanon, by Ladd Hanford, Dodge, Chrysler, Plymouth, and Jeep, your 5-star dealership on West Cumberland Street in Lebanon, and by Alvernia College, skills for the workplace, values for life. 45 seconds remaining in this basketball game, and 47-47 is the score. There you see Bill Southworth, the head coach of Lancaster Catholic. If the Crusaders can somehow or another win this basketball game, again, we could be looking at a 4-way tie atop Section 3 tonight, depending upon Columbia's game with Northern Lebanon and Lebanon Catholic's game with Peckway Valley. And on the inbounds pass, the Dutchmen turn it over.
21st turnover. And now Bill Southworth wants a timeout.
It'll be a full timeout for Lancaster Catholic. They've still got 1 full and 1:20 remaining. We remind you that our pre-playoff action isn't over with yet. Thursday night, the final night of the regular season, we will be at Lebanon High School for a big matchup in girls Lancaster Lebanon League Section 2. Garden Spot and Lebanon, both those 2 teams have already clinched spots in the Lancaster Lebanon League playoffs, but they too will be battling for playoff position, and we'll have that game for you live from Lebanon High School Thursday night. Game time somewhere in the vicinity of 8 o'clock, 7:50 with the pregame time. Steve and I will be there with you. And then don't forget, next week, Lancaster Lebanon League playoffs. We hope to have action for you throughout the week, leading to hopefully Hershey Park Arena on Friday night. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, that's the nights of the Lancaster Lebanon League playoffs. The quarterfinals on Monday, the semis on Wednesday, and then the championship games at Hershey Park on Friday night.
And Bob, keep in mind, only 2 team fouls on Annville. You can still give 4 fouls before putting Lancaster Catholic in the bonus. If you get in trouble, as silly as it sounds, you can commit a foul if it's not in the act of shooting and not be hurt by it.
43.5 is officially the time left on the clock here in the 4th quarter. The score is tied at 47. Lancaster Catholic with possession. We'll see how long the Crusaders choose to hold on to it before they put up a shot. Looks indeed as if the Crusaders might try to hold on to one and go for one last shot. The first meeting between these 2 teams went down to one last shot, and it looks like this game could do just the same. Rising being guarded and it's taken away. Zimmerman punched it out from behind.
Now, who do you think is going to have the ball here?
Well, the guy that has it is option number 1, 2, and probably 3 as we're down to 12 seconds remaining. Rising takes it away, however, and we're going to get a reach-in foul called against Lineball trying to get it back.
Well, he has made that mistake 4 or 5 times tonight, crossing over right in front of the defender. And you're just asking to be picked off there, and that's exactly what happened. The foul doesn't hurt in terms of shooting. It's the 3rd on Lineball and the 3rd on the team, but Lancaster Catholic now has the basketball.
With inside of 10 seconds remaining, Lancaster Catholic will call timeout. That'll be a full timeout for the Crusaders, so they still have 1:20 left if they need it, 1:20-second timeout. The Dutchmen also have 1 stoppage of play. It will be a full timeout for Annville-Cleona. 47-47 is the score.
Right around 8 seconds left when Lineball was called for that foul. I'm telling you, I use my fouls. I do not let them get a last shot off here. You have 8 seconds and 3 fouls to give. You let the ball come in, let the guy take a dribble or 2, and hack it.
8.2 is officially the clock, the numbers on the clock that matter the most. With a tie game at 47 apiece, we'll see how the Dutchmen and the Crusaders choose to play it. Kirkner with the inbounds pass, and there's one of the fouls. Scott Parra thinking along the same lines as Steve Degler, as Kleinfelder will commit the reach-in foul.
Didn't run a whole lot of time off, about a second there. Still 7 seconds left, but they have 2 more to give. And now Scott Parra is going to bring in some bench players
to
commit
get
some fouls.
out because that's his 4th personal.
Right. Let these other guys commit some fouls. I have that as 3 on Kleinfelder.
The scoreboard agrees with you. The new player into the game is Chris Baker. As Rising has it, he had an opportunity, gave it up to McMonagle. The shot blocked by Lineball. Shot again, tapped around, and we're going to overtime. At the end of regulation, Lancaster Catholic 47, Annville-Cleona 47. We'll come back with the overtime after this at AT&T. Cleona, where Mark Lineball saves the day defensively for the Dutchman.
Spot shadowed, times it perfectly on Swigert's shot. Follow rolls out, tipped by Kirkner, nowhere near. We go overtime.
47-47. That's the score as we start period number 5. 4-minute overtime period in high school basketball.
Well, they tried to foul too in that last inbound play, and Lancaster Catholic just avoided it.
Great anticipation by Heisey on the steal. He tries to call the timeout, and they're going to call a jump ball instead. And a possession arrow favors the Crusaders. Annville-Cleona wanted a walk. Lancaster Catholic wanted a timeout, a foul, and anything else. Instead, the Crusaders will get possession on a turnover by Annville-Cleona.
20-second turnover to 12 for Lancaster Catholic.
And again, a long distance pass, too much real estate between the pass and the defender, and Jimmy Heisey, to his credit, came up with a steal anticipating it and gets possession for the Crusaders. Scott Parra certainly knows what he will be working on between now and the start of the playoffs for Annville-Cleona. Hopefully the Dutchmen will certainly make the district playoffs, but right now they're battling for their lives to try to get to the Lancaster Lebanon League playoffs.
Yeah, they could meet Lancaster Catholic in round 1 of the districts.
They certainly could, as Jimmy Heisey puts the Crusaders on top as he pulls up for the baseline jumper to make it 49-47 Crusaders. Kevin Zimmerman now taking it across half court for Annville-Cleona. Again, Lancaster Catholic in the face of the Dutchman. Zimmerman penetrates and is fouled. Foul, I believe, is going to be on Swiger.
That's exactly right, and that's his 4th, 6 on the team.
It will not be a shooting foul, I do not believe. No, it will not.
Here is Heisey, off the dribble by Lineball. Good extension, gets the shot from the right baseline.
Heisey's 5th point of the night, and it's a big one for the Crusaders. Zimmerman to Lineball in traffic. Shot too strong, gets his own rebound, right back up and scores. 16 for Lineball, the score's tied at 49.
That is just great perseverance by Mark Lineball. Didn't take a real good shot the first time, but stayed with it.
Zimmerman almost came up with a steal. Greising keeps it, but Lineball steals it instead. Lineball trying to make the break happen right now. Pulls up, can't find anybody. What's he going to do with it? He gives it up instead to Zimmerman. And the Dutchmen need to take a breath right now as ball's on the floor to Kleinfelder, to Lineball, to Zimmerman. Could have put up the three, instead penetrates. His shot is off the mark, and I believe they're going to call in for an offensive foul.
Wow, that's what it is. Third on Zimmerman. You see, they got to come out and play him now. He made the 2 threes. He goes right by McMonagle. Heisey comes over and draws the offensive foul.
Kevin Zimmerman, as Steve said, picks up his third personal turnover, number 23 now, against the Dutchman. With 2:20 remaining, we're still tied. Now it's 49-49. Heisey to McMonagle. Swigert, Fritz, and Kirkner, the other players on the floor right now for Lancaster Catholic. Fritz has it at the top of the key. Gives it up to McMonagle. Back to Kirkner. The Crusaders playing keep away a little bit, moving the ball around.
Both teams are worn out, I can tell you that. They are very tired out there.
A crowded, warm gym, and they have been going after one another since the opening minutes. Great look from McMonagle to Heisey. The Crusaders are back on top by 2. Right back with the pressure.
7 points for Heisey, who averages only 4.5 a game.
4 of them have come here in the overtime. The only 4 points for the Crusaders
And he gets
in
called for
overtime.
a foul here, which will put Sabatos to the line for a 1-and-1.
Team foul number 7 against Lancaster Catholic. And again, Annville-Cleona, a very good foul shooting team, 73% on the season.
Especially late in games, excuse me, Bob. They have won a lot of games from the line in the fourth quarter. They're 11 for 16 in this one tonight. But neither team has shot a lot of free throws in the second half. 3, all of them for the Dutchman.
Sabatos' first trip to the foul line in this basketball game with 1:33 remaining. The Dutchman looking for the tie. Sabatos can't get the shot, tapped around. Zimmerman comes up with it, back to the line ball. Fresh possession for Annville-Cleona. They give it to Zimmerman. To Browning at the top of the key, trying to screen open line ball on the baseline. However, it's tipped out of bounds. Good play by McMonagle.
Well, they had set up a double screen on the left side for line ball, and on that play, Fritz was going to the left baseline trying to beat that double screen. Line ball simply cut off his route, popped out to the right corner, and was wide open.
But McMonagle tipped it out of bounds and saved the good look for a line ball. Now they'll give it to line ball at the top of the key. Fritz in his jersey right now. They screen him open. He pulls up at the foul line and scores.
That's a layup right there.
It's also a tie game as well at 51. Final 60 seconds coming up, perhaps. Or will we go to overtime at number 2? 51-51. And Lancaster Catholic will call a timeout. Crusaders will burn a full timeout, I believe, with 54.6 seconds remaining in the contest. Lancaster Catholic 51, Annville-Cleona 51.
Here is line ball starting up top, left side. Is going to go on the dribble, gets a screen from Browning, simply pulls up right at the foul line. You can forget about this. Just head back and play some defense.
Play number 1 in the playbook. Screen open, Mark Lineball, and he'll make it happen. It's 18 points now for Mark Lineball. Again, we'll remind you where we'll be after tonight. Once we get out of Annville, if we get out of Annville, we'll be right back in Lebanon on Thursday night. Lebanon High School will be the site. Girls basketball action for you. Lancaster League Section 2 garden spot against the Lebanon Cedars. That game just as important as this game as far as playoff positioning is concerned. Again, both Lebanon and Garden Spot girls are in the playoffs in the Lancaster Lebanon League. It's a matter of who might win the Section 2 title, and that very well could be on the line and come Thursday night, and we'll have that for you. The final game of regular season play in the Lancaster Lebanon League. Bill Southward in his first year as a head coach of Lancaster Catholic, maybe in his second year by the time this night is over with, and Scott Parra in his 5th year for the Annville-Cleona Little Dutchman. Final 50 seconds, perhaps. 50 seconds left on the clock.
Still have a foul to give to the Dutchman. 5 team fouls.
Lancaster Catholic can stop the clock once. The Dutchman can stop it twice if they choose. Rising with it right now for Lancaster Catholic. Gives it up to Heisey. Will the Crusaders hold for one last shot? Down to 33 seconds remaining. Will Annville-Cleona allow them to work for one last shot? We're going to get a whistle and a foul. I believe it's going to be on Browning.
It's his third, 6 on the team. So they've got to inbound now with 28.5 seconds left.
So the last foul that Annville-Cleona could get without sending Lancaster Catholic to the foul line. Both teams now in the bonus situation. Crusaders will inbound. Rising. shakes away from a defender. Great bounce pass to McMonigle. However, it's taken away as Kleinfelder pokes it away from behind. And Scott Pera and the Annville-Cleona Dutchman will call a timeout with 20.4 seconds remaining. 51-51 is our score.
Well, the first thing is they've got to get the ball in bounds. The second thing is they're going to get it in the hands of Linebaugh, and he has to be careful on that crossover dribble. You can pretty much assume they're going to go with some sort of 1-4 low set, spread the floor for Linebaugh, and let him do his thing.
See if we can pick it up. The great defensive play on or by Matt Kleinfelder comes up with the steal from behind.
I think McMonigle just mishandles it, Bob. He was turning to look for the shot and maybe taking a peek where Browning was there and lost the handle, and Sabatos comes in and picks it up.
So the turnover by Lancaster Catholic, a bit ironic since it's been turnovers that have hurt Annville-Cleona so bad tonight.
That's exactly right. 14th on the night for the Crusaders, who have forced 23 by the Dutchman.
20 seconds remaining in this basketball game. Overtime right now at Annville. 51-51 is our score.
Tough place to inbound, too, on the side.
The Dutchmen have had trouble on the inbounds pass throughout this night tonight. They finally get it to Linebaugh. Again, he is double-teamed immediately. He'll wait and get everybody out of his way except for one, and that's Grising, who was all over it. Linebaugh will try to work it down inside of 10 seconds to go. One last shot for the Dutchman.
1-4 low.
Down to 5. Linebaugh from three-point range, short of the mark. Kirkner has it, and we're going to double overtime. At the end of one overtime, it is Annville-Cleona 51, Lancaster Catholic 51. We'll come back to Annville with more after this on AT&T. Back at Annville-Cleona along with Steve Degler. My name is Bob McCool. In case you just joined it, well, you missed a lot of basketball because we are now heading to the second overtime period. Annville-Cleona and Lancaster Catholic battling in Lancaster 11 League Section 3 matchup. And this game has been a dandy. 51-51 as Annville starts with possession and loses it that quickly.
24th turnover on the Dutchman. Trying to find Linebaugh, forced it.
Swigert from three-point range, rims out. Heisey has the rebound. His shot is no good. And Kleinfelder has the board for the Dutchman.
I know Scott Pera doesn't really want to attack things, but I think you have to.
And Browning does just that as he takes it along the baseline, and he will go to the foul line to shoot 2.
He did not want to get into a racehorse here tonight, going baseline to baseline against the Crusaders, but you know,